Welcome to Celebrating Act 2. Celebrating Act 2 is the user manual for the second half of your life.
Welcome back to Celebrating Act 2, Founders Vlog with myself, Art Kirsch, and my partner, John Coleman.
It's art. It sounds a little bit like the beginning of Star Trek, going where no man should go before. Stardate 17, 14,
Wait,
13.
wait, may the 4th be with us. It is.
The COVID force.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. We are now have progressed with the coronavirus to the point where the world wants to open up. And I guess we're doing it slowly. Certain places are. I'm thinking about. I just got off the phone with my grandson. He went surfing the other night. The beaches are open in California. Here in California. Speaking of beaches, I love the photo behind you. The Laguna Cove. What's that cove called?
I actually don't know where that is. This is a drawing by my friend Bill Drysdale.
Yeah, it's a famous cove. There's a great restaurant there, by the way, if you ever get a chance. I can't think of the name of it.
Famous Cove Restaurant. I know it well. I'll check it out, and on our next activity, next vlog.
It's in South. The cove, the place that he drew, is a famous artist spot, and it's in South Laguna Beach.
Okay.
And I'll look it up and I'll get you the address, and you should go there when the restaurant's open.
Now, John, now that we've used up most of our vlog time, do you want me to start all over again from the beginning?
No.
Okay.
Because that relates to what I wanted to talk about, which is the world is opening up. People are going out. Of course, every state is different. I guess they always compare Wyoming to New York City. So New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the highly populated, very dense Northeast is going to have different rules than we have in Southern California or Wyoming or anywhere else. But it'll be interesting to see not only how it works, because I think those places that open up early and loosen the rules, they're going to be an experiment. We're going to see if the infection rate goes up or down or stays the same. But it's also interesting to see, it will be interesting to see how people react to this. Because there's a lot of people, I know you've been much more conservative. Dare I use the word conservative?
Wow.
Art Kirsch? Holy cow.
Well,
but you've been much more conservative about following the isolation rules, the quarantine, than I have.
and my ultra liberal friend John Coleman, did I say that? Has just blown caution to the wind, so to speak, in a minor
So
kind
to
of way.
speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: by comparison, sure, we're in different situations. So I have 4 acres to roam here, a garden and a grove to work. But for instance, 2.5 weeks ago, my grandsons came down. Actually, a bunch of grandsons came down and helped me plant some new trees in the grove. Now, nobody was wearing masks. They're teenagers. They're 16 and 18. And I didn't have a problem with it. They didn't have a problem with it. I know that they're responsible, that if they had any symptoms, they wouldn't have come, and we were working together during the day. Plus, younger grandsons were here.
Well, hold on. So your older grandsons, have they been pretty much sequestered in their home with their parents without much contact with the outside world? Okay.
Pretty much, yeah, they have. And they're doing school online, just like the younger grandsons are doing school online.
Right.
Everybody's doing school online. My oldest granddaughter is home from college. She's doing school online. So no matter what the age is, all school seems to be online, which I don't think is a bad thing. It was a trend that the colleges particularly wanted to accelerate. But more importantly for you and me, because we are the generation, maybe not a generation, but we are the population that is what do they call it? Highly susceptible.
Hmm.
We're the most in danger. We're the
Well,
age group.
well, I remember I have a 30-year rolling plan, so I'm not, probably not as endangered as you are because the fact that I have a rolling plan for 30 years, I think gives me a degree of immunity. But still, we've been sequestered. So I want to make a confession to you, John.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
because I mean I know that you're just out there and you're. Look, we're both huggers. That's one of our because we're both from New York originally, so we're
Where
huggers.
where everybody could use a good hug.
But yesterday, after about a 4 or 5 week, I think it's about 5 weeks, with our youngest grandchildren, who are 5 and 7, uh, we got our first hug. We were we
Really?
were hug eligible. So
Wait a
I
minute.
know
Wait a
that would
minute.
surprise you.
Is there somebody I should be reporting you to?
Yes, to my wife, but since she cried when she hugged our
I
grandkids, and
After
I.
5 weeks, I believe it. I
But
believe it.
but they've been sequestered at home with their parents, with virtually no outside contact, even for the parents in the last
Oh,
3 weeks,
those
and
poor parents.
and we've been here. Yeah, well, that's a different story, but that's probably for celebrating Act One, really. But I'm sure there are a lot of people who can go through that
Yeah.
problem. But uh, so yesterday, after all of us had been isolated, including their other grandmother. They made a trip. We all live pretty close, and they decided that it was time that we could intermix. What will happen if they go back to school may change everything, but
Sure.
I had a nice catch with a hardball with my grandson who's 7, and
That's wonderful.
there was another catch kind of thing with a Velcro mitt with my granddaughter, but it was just a wonderful half hour. It wasn't just being 6 feet apart. So
Right.
I am being wild like you in a lot of ways, although I'm still not a shopper.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But that's okay.
mm,
It's part of the process that the country is going through right now
and,
of step by step seeing what we can get away with, as
and
if you
my
will.
guess is that it's going to be pretty interesting in 2 weeks from now, since there are what about 30 states that are opening to one degree or another, and I think even New York with Uncle Andy, uh, Governor Cuomo, who by the way has this wonderful fireside chat kind of sense to him,
Yeah.
uh, and they're probably
It's
this.
a it's a very it's a very New York Italian fireside chat.
Yeah,
Hey, you should be feeling good. Hey, wait.
yeah. You going to the park? Huh? You went to the park again? No mask? But in any event, they're still pretty strict, as is California for the most part. And
Yes.
I think the big concept is what's going to happen when people start getting around. So hospitalization rates in certain places have gone down, in others they didn't. And
Right.
so the question will be 2 weeks from now, are we going to have a huge spike in certain places?
Sure. You never know.
Italy
You
is
never
also
know.
opening up. So
Yeah.
now you've been sort of uh, well, store diving, shop diving, dumpster dive, no, store diving for the last 3 or 4 weeks
You,
on a
you know
regular
what?
basis, right?
Quit trying to describe it. You're making it worse.
Okay.
Yes, I go to the store.
Yeah. And
Yes, I have.
are you masked or unmasked?
Oh, no, no, I go masked. I'm trying to be intelligent about it without being fearful. This is my attitude.
Hmm.
My attitude is that there are some people who get scared of this, unreasonably scared. I think we all ought to be intelligently scared. I mean, it is something to be scared about. Let's face it. This is I. You don't may not know this, but I had an uncle who died of the Spanish flu in 1923,
Did not know that.
and it was a it was a terrible thing, and it went around the world 3 times.
Hmm.
He got killed on the second around the world, believe it or not. So that is not comparable to this, because that he was 16 years old, and that flu targeted just about everybody, but
Right.
particularly the young and the healthy. This flu is not targeting, anybody can get it, And the fear is not that the kids are going to get it and die from it. The fear is that the kids are going to get it
And
and
pass
give
it
it to
on
the
to us,
grandparents
right? Yeah,
because we're
more
the
vulnerable. Yeah,
generation
yep,
that are more vulnerable. And let's face it, anybody over 50, there's a good chance that you've got what they're calling, what Dr. Liz told us is, quote, an underlying condition.
right.
Well, what's an underlying condition? It could be anything from a mild respiratory history to a regular disease to a
High blood pressure because apparently it has a lot to do with getting oxygen moved around in your system.
find me somebody over 65 who doesn't have high blood pressure.
Right,
You know, they're out there, but we don't know any of them. So the point is that our generation, the over 50 crowd, uh, we really are the target of this particular disease. And I don't think, this is my personal opinion, I don't think the problem is so much that we're not going to be taking care of ourselves. I think the problem is that the rest of the world is going to get loosey goosey about this and forget how
Transmit.
easy it is to transmit it to you and me and our wives and our grandparents.
Right.
And that's the danger.
Well,
That's the
well,
danger
I
for
think I totally agree with you. As a matter of fact, probably we live in an over 55 community, so the we've heard of virtually no. Even though some people are going in and out, there's virtually no infection. Most people here are sequestered on the compound. Although all of the common areas like swimming pools.
Art, let me interrupt you for just a second because this we could have this conversation
Sure.
ad infinitum. I think the important thing is that we all should be cautious, and we should all remember to let those we know and love remind them to be cautious on our behalf.
Right, and the reason why, again, I'm normally the first one to try new things, is that um, I do understand that since we don't have any significant treatment, particularly for people who are in the underlying conditions age group, our age group, is that the problem with this is that even if you and I got it, the chances are that most of us will have it may be awful for a while, but we'll get over it. Okay, so it's just a higher rate of if you get it and you get it bad, you're screwed. So I think
All right.
we recognize that, but most of us will get it and will survive it, and then hopefully we'll have immunities. So I think the real thing is that it's just a question of how further afield I'm willing to go to risk getting it from somebody. I mean, we have Instacart delivering maybe once a week. One thing or
Right.
another. We have our grandson who actually works. He's almost got his EMT, and he works in a hospital right now in emergency admitting. So uh, he
That's something neither you or I would be willing to do at our age.
correct. Well, I'd be willing to do it if I knew that I was somewhat protected against it, because I don't
Yeah.
mind those kind of
30
things.
years old and you weren't a target. Yeah.
But when he shops for us, just like the Instacart people, we may do a drive by and he'll put it in the back of our car and we just talk
Right.
this. But I
Right.
wipe down everything with
Yeah.
disinfecting wipes, whether it be Instacart or anybody else, because they don't even necessarily know that they have. It's not like they're doing
Well, that
risky things, because many of them not.
right.
The shoppers are not doing
Right.
risky things, but they're walking around a store that's got everybody else there,
You,
half of
you
whom are
just
not
you
wearing
just hit the
masks.
you just hit the nail on the head, and
Hmm.
that is they don't know, we don't know, the government doesn't know, the experts don't know, and it's unfortunate, but this is going to have to go around the world, and we're going to learn the hard way with the experiment of some states open, some states
Right.
closed. We're going to learn and see where it goes, and we don't even know yet that it's that having had it gives you any kind of immunity.
So
So we're
at this point, John,
for another year or
uh,
two, we're in a learning curve.
I think that probably the most important takeaway here is that in 2 weeks from now, once these states have opened up for a while, we get a chance to observe, are they going to get spikes in cases and things like that?
Right.
I suspect that there will be, because there's just too many more people interacting at this particular point in time. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that and how severe that is. And this is something for us, we're in uncharted territory.
Right.
Although I
Right.
would, I'm wishing all of our audience, if they could share with us things that they see as they may be in other states, in Texas and Florida and the Midwest.
Sure.
Well, they're all over the place because there's about what 30 of them, at least 13 that have really severely opened up. But we'd like to
Sure.
hear from you and let us know your experience. Are you going out? Do you feel comfortable? Or maybe a week from now, is that when you first start feeling comfortable because
Right.
you see other people going out? But I really think that what has to happen is taking a look at it about 2 weeks down, which is everybody sort of agrees that that's the kind of period of time from getting exposed to maybe showing the signs to see what happens with that.
Yeah. And I think for the near future, we all have to be cautious, but it's going to be an individual case. It's
Right.
an individual choice of how we proceed. So, with that, I'd say art, good health,
And same to you, John.
and stay cautious.
I
And
and I can't
I'm hoping we'll be able to get together for coffee soon.
and a hug. I need a hug
And a,
from my John.
and a hug. Yeah. In the meantime, hugs, official hugs,
Yeah.
big hug. Put your arms out, Art.
All right.
Big hug to
And
all our viewers and all our friends.
yes.
Yes, hug, hug, yeah,
Okay.
hug.
Okay. See ya. Anyway, see you in a couple of weeks. Well, actually, we'll see you
Okay,
every week. I wonder, we'll have to have an intermediate thing to talk about next week. 2 weeks from now, we're going to continue this discussion, like part two of venturing out.
okay, okay. So next week we can talk about the value of hugging.
Yeah. Well, sure. Anyway, thank you for joining us this time, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. And stay safe out there.
Amen.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.